What's up everybody, it's La Muerte Blanca. We are back with another explained video where we speedrun the retelling of complicated game stories with plenty of jokes along the way. This time we're discussing the game that started it all, Resident Evil. If you're one of those that can't spare the 15 hours needed to play it, don't worry, I got you. To give players more gameplay, this game starts the trend of telling the same story through multiple characters. Because it has more callbacks to Resident Evil 0, we're going to start with Chris's playthrough, then go over the main differences if you choose to play as Jill. Not long after the events of RE0, STAR's Alpha team is looking for Bravo team, the homies that got messed up in the last game. They find Bravo's helicopter destroyed and abandoned, outside of this guy who's been turned into a fucking chew toy. As they continue the search, Wesker's still doing his best Corey Hart impression. And out of nowhere, zombie dogs jump Joseph, whoever this guy is. Jill, a trained operative by the way, is completely frozen until the dogs notice her. She tries to get away, but remember, she's a white woman in a scary situation. She falls. Chris saves her clumsy ass and they take off, thinking for a second they can outrun undead Doberman. Really though, these things are aggressive as all hell and on average hit 30 miles per hour. Usain Bolt, the fastest human on the planet, barely exceeds 27. Fuck out of here. Despite being in full gear, Chris, Jill, and Wesker outrun a pack of dogs to make it to the nearby mansion. No one knows where Barry is, but hear a gunshot. Chris goes to investigate, leaving Jill and Wesker to secure the entrance. Oh shit, zombies. Chris gets back, and where are Wesker and Jill? With no backup and no way out, Chris starts investigating the haunted mansion from hell and does Resident Evil things like solve puzzles, shoot things that are already dead, and fight horrendous camera angles. Also, after breaking and entering, refusing this guy's hug, disturbing another dude's bath, and committing animal cruelty, I'm starting to see why no one in this house likes him. I mean, come on. Homie's just trying to come out of the closet, and Chris shoots his head off. Woke Internet is gonna have his ass for this one. After more escape room bullshit and what has to be a million obnoxious door animations, I'm talking every fucking time you enter a room. Chris eventually runs into Rebecca Chambers, our heroine from Resident Evil 0. I'm here to rescue you. But she's got the homie Richard, aka Dick, who's been bit by a massive snake. Phrasing. I am way too immature for this irony. I need serum, but I conveniently left it in the other room, though I'm a trained field medic who's doing nothing but holding this guy's head. Chris gets the serum, and as she's administering the shot, Richard gives his radio to Chris. Shouldn't they all have radios already? I mean, did stars get hit by budget cuts too? They relocate the homie and Chris just leaves, abandons them to continue his investigation even though the first thing he said when he showed up was that he's here to rescue them. Yeah, about that. Investigation continues and Rebecca even randomly shows up to play the piano. Guess we stopped caring about Richard? But then, oh shit, that's a big ass snake. No wonder he's all messed up. Chris finally does the same thing by running away like a bitch, but first steals the snake's stuff. Another dead zombie, another 1,000 door animations, and Chris is out in the woods. Oh, by the way, Wesker's sending an all call to all the radios. Stay away from the woods. Like any good idiot horror protagonist, Chris hits us with the "We'll do it live! Fuck it!" and goes anyway. Not only that, he proceeds to do dumb Goldilocks shit by seeing this creepy ass cabin that's clearly occupied on account of the fresh roasting fireplace and investigate it anyway. You fucked around, you found out, and now you're being chased by the Slipknot of Notre Dame. Chris dips faster than a Tinder date, realizing you're splitting the check, and eventually ends up in the flooded bunker filled with sharks. Don't forget, this is a mansion in the Midwest mountains. Where the fuck did they get sharks? And how the fuck did Richard get here? Unfortunately, dude's luck with animals still sucks as he gets his whole ass eaten by Jaws. Chris cooks the shark, but later gets caught by Mega Victory Bell, but that's nothing an absurd amount of shotgun shells can't handle. Chris runs into Rebecca again, gives her the news about Richard, and blames himself for not watching him. I thought that was Rebecca's job. Then they separate again. For real, after all the shit that's been going on in this house and everything Rebecca went through in 0, you'd think they would want to stick together, but apparently not. Then Chris randomly runs into Wesker. If you've seen my last video, you already know what's up, but for the sake of suspense, I won't spoil it. Maybe. Where the fuck is Jill, Wesker? My glasses are too dark and we got separated. Chris wises up and says they need to get the hell out of there until Wesker says there's more to explore. A smart person would be like, fuck that, but Chris's dumbass goes, sure, no problem. Chris runs into a big ass snake again and stops being a bitch by going Samuel Jackson on it. I have had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking mansion. Then he finds Rebecca getting attacked by a Battletoad. After putting a 12 gauge slug in Pimple's face, he runs up to her like, we have to get out of here. You with me? But then immediately does a 180 like, haha, just kidding. You're on your own, bitch. Stay cool. I'm sorry. What? So this asshole leaves her on her own and finds a cave system under the mansion. In said cave, Enrico's messed up. Who the hell is Enrico? He's the Bravo captain Rebecca ditched to find Billy in the last game. On the verge of death, he points a gun at Chris, calls him a traitor, and BAM! Enrico gets shot? Mystery assassin takes off, and Rico uses his last breath to mother, umbrella, and dies as Chris contemplates who the traitor might be. Really though, there aren't that many options. You should know this one without me having to spoil it. Chris continues through the cave, pushes a box of obnoxious distance because the escape room obsession will never not be a thing in this series, and finds Wesker in its depths using bag-faced Quasimodo for target practice. Must have forgotten his own advice because bullets don't do shit. Instead, Chris opens the tomb and it just hops away with the skull screaming, "Mother!" There's a side story here, but nothing relevant to what we truly care about, so we're just gonna move on. Because this mansion has more secret passages than a game of Clue, Chris finds a lab under the fountain and starts learning about Umbrella's bullshit. The virus, the experiments, the fact that Wesker's the traitor? But really though, if you didn't know by now, you're not trying.
Any more brain busters?
Finally, Chris manages to find Jill, who's been locked in a holding cell this entire time. He can't open the door, so he does what he's been doing this entire game. Leaves her. Because Rebecca's that crazy ex we can't get rid of, she keeps showing up despite Chris's best attempts to ghost her, but after like 5 run-ins, he finally tells her to follow him, and they soon find Wesker. How long have you been with Umbrella? Silly bitch, I've always been with Umbrella. Since the virus leaked, Wesker's been using it to kill off the STARS team he cultivated. Got his hands dirty when he killed Enrico, and shoots Rebecca? The one time Chris brings her along. Damn. Then he unleashes the tyrant and gets fucking skewered by his own creation.
Poetic justice.
Wesker's lifeless body gets yeeted. Chris somehow manages to put the tyrant down, and luckily Rebecca was wearing her best. Because Resident Evil 0 inspired her pyromania, Rebecca wants to and runs off to find the self-destruct sequence. She probably realized she's safer without him since she got shot the second they teamed up. It doesn't take long for the self-destruct alarms to go off and the PA system to obnoxiously announce the locks are disengaged. Over and over. But despite this, Jill's deaf ass is still waiting herself for some reason. They make it to the elevator and Rebecca shows up just in time to tell them the self-destruct sequence has been activated. No shit. Can no one hear these alarms? Finally, on the surface, Chris sends a flare to the helicopter, but then fuck me, the tyrant's back?
Silly bitch, your weapons cannot harm me. Don't you know who the fuck I am?
As Jill gets slapped across the platform, out cold. Chris and Rebecca do their best to not get ragdolled, but the handguns aren't doing anything. Helicopter pilot's like, Chris, here's a super convenient rocket launcher I've been saving because it definitely wouldn't have been useful much earlier. Gee. Thanks, Brad. Chris picks up the
rocket launcher
and it gets deflected? Tyrant must have that RU4 knife upgrade.
Uno mas?
Boom! Tyrant gets eviscerated. The helicopter shows up, mansion goes up in flames, and the homie escapes with both ladies.
Alright.
If you live in an alternate universe and pick Jill as your character, it's more or less the same. Same mansion, same dead things trying to kill you, same door animations, basically everything except Chris is gone in the beginning with Jill, Wesker, and this guy named Barry starting in the mansion. Jill and Barry investigate the gunshot and then split up when Wesker disappears. She periodically runs into Barry as they continue to investigate the mansion. Rebecca doesn't exist in Jill's playthrough, leaving Richard to fend for himself when his ass gets bit. He comes back for revenge, but gets his ass eaten by the snake anyway. Man is really not good with animals. Much later in the crazy Slipknot monster tomb area, Barry's digging around and pulls a gun on Jill? What? She does the cool rush hour gun steal move and is about to get answers until Monster shows up. She trusts Barry enough to give the gun back, gets Monster Thing to jump into the abyss, and just leaves Barry after he says he'll handle things here. The fuck? We're just gonna completely forget that he pulled a gun on us? And it bites her in the ass later because she and Barry make it to Wesker, and he pulls a gun on her again. He's doing bad things, but he's not a bad dude because asshole Wesker here has his wife and daughters. Barry's just trying to keep his family safe. Like before, Umbrella is using the virus outbreak to get rid of STARS. Wesker has his own cryptic intentions, none of them good of course, and right when he's about to shoot Jill, BAM! Barry pops his Johnny Bravo head ass and puts him down. Unfortunately, Barry sucks and doesn't kill Wesker, who manages to unleash the tyrant only to then get bitch slapped by it. After the tyrant gets put down, the self-destruct sequence somehow activates itself, and just as randomly, Jill stumbles upon Chris like, oh hey, where you been? Like Chris's run, they make it out, eviscerate the tyrant, blow up the mansion like it's Michael Bay movie, and escape in the helicopter. Finally, following either playthrough, the game offers a Wesker-focused epilogue. Long story short, the virus brought him back from death, but instead of a Plants vs. Zombie extra, it turns him into a mid-tier Marvel vs. Capcom character. Moments from self-destruction, Wesker abandons his glasses? And then gets tight when Umbrella revokes his data access. He fights his way out of the mansion with seconds to spare and heads off to do evil bad guy shit we'll talk about in later games. And that's Resident Evil. Good thing STARS went through all that trouble to contain the virus. Who knows what would happen if it got out? right? Right? If you enjoyed these videos, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification button, or don't. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. Don't forget to let me know in the comments what other games you all want to see. We've already done a ton of other explain videos, so make sure you guys check those out as well. I'm La Muerte Blanca, and I'll catch you guys next time.